December 18th, 2022. I remember it vividly. The last goal of the World Cup had just been scored, and I had made a goal of my own. You see, the goal of mine that I had was to progress my career enough within the next 4 years to afford tickets to the next one. And so when I failed that goal miserably, I realized it wasn't entirely my fault. And so chat, today, what we have is a presentation. Who's the World Cup for? We're following 96 years of ticket prices versus typical American income. Everybody lock in. I'm actually really excited about this. This is from the 1930s World Cup in Uruguay, and this is going to be also a generational crash out because I didn't get to go. Okay, we need to follow the ticket prices. That's this entire presentation. Bonus points if you read this, but we're going to move on. You've probably already seen videos about how FIFA's a scam, or like the World Cup is the most corrupt ever. Like, this is honestly just a crash out with more steps. Moving on, chats. World Cup 1930. We're taking it way back. This is Montevideo, Uruguay, the first World Cup in Uruguay. Think about all the European teams that have to, you know, vote. So there's only 13. There's like 46 this year. This is the very first World Cup ever. I believe this is the French team here. Kind of sick. How expensive was it? Honestly, not very. You probably expected that. You also know how this presentation ends. You already know this presentation is going to end with me crashing out about how expensive the 2026 World Cup is. But this is just to put it in context, like how bad is it actually? Actually, how bad is it? But we're starting back here. We're going to paint the picture. This is 1930. They're all wearing these flat caps. Okay, and that's pretty chill, no? It's a day's pay. It's a day's pay. 68K people get to the first one. Take notes on it, whatever you please. Here's all the flat caps, right? We're skipping some stuff, okay? Prices don't move that much. 1970s, though, things get big. We're covering larger moments. So it's globalized. Is it expensive now? 1970. What do you think? Is it expensive now in 1970? No, it's kind of just, it's still fine, even despite the increased attention. I didn't go. I'm salty about it, and that's really the core of this presentation. But the 1970 Mexico World Cup, this is the first the whole planet, quote unquote, watched, all right? So this is from, I believe, Azteca Stadium in Mexico City. It's live, it's in color, record TV audience, like record TV audience basically overnight. So how much did a seat cost? You might be wondering, how much did a seat cost? Don't worry, I got you. The answer is 30 bucks. Or for the best seat at the final, 160 bucks. This is for the final, okay? But in today's money, that is going to be this amount, 255 to 1360. It's approximate. Kind of fine. We're kind of chilling. Less than 300 bucks in today's money. I'm going to this final. So let's cover the 1974 to 1990 era. It's about 20 years, right? Prices barely moved. It's really blurry, but we got 40, we got 50 in 1978, we got 60 in 1982, we got 80 in 1986, 120 in 1990. These are like for the top final ticket prices, you know? Within that era, let's do Spain 1982 specifically. The thing about this one is just larger. We go from 16 to 24 teams. That's more matches, that's more stadiums. The thing is, it's still cheap. I do have a question for you, and that question is, could you go to the final in 1982? It's 60 bucks. So kind of, yeah, that's 205 bucks in today's money. Didn't I say that it was like a little bit less for the 1971? I mean, this is a cheap to mid seat. It's still kind of crazy that you could basically pay the same amount to get in 1982 that you could in 1970. Group stage games are probably cheap enough to go to as many as you want on an average income at this point. Did want to touch on one other World Cup in the 80s, though, because that's going to be the 1986 World Cup. You have Maradona's Hand of God. It was a controversial goal where you can see his ball hitting his hand hitting the ball. But they count as a goal, like the ref missed it or something, and this has been hugely controversial for 40 years. England hates Argentina because of this. About 5 minutes after the Hand of God happened in 1986, this happened.
4 minutes after his hugely controversial opener, Diego Maradona picked the ball up in midfield and with 11 touches in 11 seconds, cemented his status as one of the game's all-time greats.
Point is, if you go to the World Cup in 1986, you get to see that, and you saw the goal of the century. This becomes one of the most remembered World Cups ever. How much do you think you would pay to see all of that and these legendary moments versus 2026? Because the thing is, it was still kind of chill. And in 2026, it was not. This number is crazy, but it's real. The thing about dynamic pricing, you can get this very small number here, only $6,900. Nice, by the way. As of like a day before the match, this was the number. It was $21,995. Think about where we came from, where the expensive seat was like 80 bucks. So now we're here, which is absolutely, absolutely insane. That's over 200 times more. 1986 final average seat was 75 bucks in today's money. And then you have this $15,000 $100,000 number, which again spiked up from this number because of dynamic pricing. I'm trying to pay this. This is a game I'm not going to. This is a game I am going to. It's simple. There's no argument here. This is the reality. Say it with me, chat. I love dynamic pricing. I love Infantino, incredible FIFA president. He's gonna get elected again because of how much money he made. So that's 1986. We're gonna skip a World Cup and go to America because this is 1994 and we have 3.59 million people go. This is a huge jump. At the time, in fact, up until 2026, this is the highest attendance. Okay, so how did this affect the price? Because this is so much bigger. Should this be like where everything went wrong? Is this where you stop being able to be an average person and afford the World Cup? Like, what happened? Okay. What is the next part in this story? The answer is, was this the cheapest World Cup ever? It's still 25 bucks. Average tickets, $58. The final. Okay. So you're still chilling. You're still chilling. The real stubs. You got 45 bucks Brazil, Sweden, 65 bucks Bolivia, Spain. All right, you do have to double these prices because of inflation. Here's just a crazy statistic that I learned last week. You have to make $100,000 now to have the same impact, like for how far your dollar went in 1995 if you made about $45,000 at the time. So that's the world we live in. So now you have to roughly double these numbers, okay? So this does come out to roughly 120. We're still pretty much chilling. If your average ticket is 120, I'm still going to these, all right? I might even go to the final, but I could probably make it out to a couple games, just being your little old me, average Joe. So that's 1994. Up next, we have the corporate era. This is 1998 to 2022, okay? You have sponsors. You have the premium seats. That's just what it is. And what we really have is a change with FIFA. I'm sure there's videos that go much more in depth about this on FIFA. You're 4Xing in the span of 20 years. This is 03 to 06. You go from this smaller number to this bigger number. That's really all you need to know from this graph, okay? This is probably the main bit of info. Remember this for later. The demand for the best seats. Specifically, there's a couple World Cups that really start to change things. But let's talk about the sponsorships a little bit more. Again, I'm not going to spend much time on this because there's other videos that go way more in depth already. Exclusive access. What's happening here is that host cities, they can sell their own local sponsorships to cover the operational costs. But what they cannot do is they cannot sign companies that compete with FIFA's like central, partners. So FIFA's really trying to control their sponsorships, and I don't know how much you guys have heard about this. If you haven't, it's crazy. So let me see if I can, give like a brief recap. This is more back to the exclusive access thing, but like the cities and the venues are like, they're having to subordinate their own commercial relationships to protect FIFA's partner revenue, which skyrocketed, by the way. The hospitality grab. Let me look at my notes. 1 million premium tickets were allotted for On Location. On Location is like FIFA's, their main hospitality partner that they work with. And then also MLS, to sell through the hospitality channel before the general public ever sees it. The general public costs go up just because there's less supply because of this hospitality bullshit. This is a change from previous years because corporate and private clients were 50% of the hospitality packages sold, and On Location had allocated about 500K hospitality packages, which is a record for the World Cup. And, this artificial supply removal, which is just skyrocketing the scarcity. It's driving up ticket prices. FIFA's a fucking villain, bro. What can I say? Like, they're the villain of this story. This is why everyone's hating on them. I just want to say, like, every FIFA video, FIFA scam, or World Cup corruption video is gonna cover this. It outlines this pretty well. This is a chart from 1994 to 2022. Top final ticket price. This is for finals tickets. We got $475. We got $520. Climbs all the way up. Here's 2014, $990. And then boom, this is the Qatar World Cup, the last one that happened. Basically, this is the best seat at the final. This is what this particular chart is covering. It more than triples since 1994, which we just went over. Here's the deal. Enter Qatar 2022. We have the most expensive cup ever staged. This is a new stadium under construction. This is Lusail Stadium, but it looks pretty cool, okay? It looks pretty cool. Is it worth it? We get very primo very fast. Like, we need to go over 2 World Cups in particular. From my research, 2018, 2022. Lock in. Lock in, lock in, lock in, lock in. Russia 2018. Let's go over this real quick. The priciest final for now, $1,100. Qatar 2022. Why did I say it isn't totally horrendous? That's right, chat, because it's relative. 2026 was so much worse than all of this. So all the Cat 1 matches, these are the most expensive ones. For the final, 1606. You could pay $1,000 for the final, maybe $600 for the final. All the round of 16 matches, 275, 205. Quarterfinals, you can go to a really, really big game, 425. Pretty expensive, no? This is 2022, but it's not totally horrendous. It kind of is, but relatively compared to 2026, it really is that bad, chat. It really is that bad. 2026 was 2 to 4 times as bad. I'm sorry, I'm yelling. Here's Joe Biden right here, all right? Joe Biden's right there. By the time you get to doubling to quadrupling the Qatar World Cup prices, Joe Biden scoring against Spain is more likely than me affording this World Cup, bro. You wanna know how many goals Spain allowed in the entire tournament? 1 goal. Next slide. This is how bad it was, y'all. Same seats. Qatar 2022 versus this year 2026. Number go higher, number go burr. You can see the yellow much higher than the gray. That really sucks. 3.59 million to 6.81 million from 1994 to 2026. That's a lot more people, but does it really justify how expensive it got? Because I'll tell you right now, the wages did not keep up with the price increases. This is where we at. We got 48 teams, 104 matches, 16 cities. FIFA's projected haul was 8 to 11 billion depending on what source you get from it. They're expected to announce 15 billion, 4 billion more. It was way over expected what FIFA made. They're the absolute villains, bro. That's what I'm trying to say. Here's another painting of the picture here. Look at this chart. It sucks way worse than the Qatar one if you haven't already noticed. We've already seen some of these numbers. Pause if you feel like it, but basically, it's evil. This man is evil. This sucks. It all sucks. I hate it. Stay locked. We're almost done. This is my 30th slide. Dynamic pricing. That means there's no fixed price. They just let it rise with demand. This is why people hate FIFA. Okay, advertised floor price, $60. 242, cheapest listed price. Cheapest listed high price. Dynamic pricing affects things a lot. $500 to $600 for the lower demand games. So my buddy went to see Colombia versus Ghana in Kansas City. The thing was, there were rumors that maybe Ronaldo was gonna play in that match. So dynamic pricing pushes the demand up to this. That's what he paid for it. The day of, maybe I could have afforded this one, but like, that's day of. You have to drop everything. So that's how dynamic pricing really affects these things. The next 2 slides are the most important 2 slides I can possibly show you. Ticket price change, 1,000%. US median household income rising, 32%. This is from 1994 to 2026. This is why it's a big deal. Wages rose? Yeah, by this much. Ticket cost rises? Yeah, by this much. They quadrupled. They quadrupled. Some of them quadrupled from Qatar to now. It's outpacing. So I have a question for you. If you lived in 1994 and you had a hit to your wallet that buying a ticket costed, how much would you need to make now in 2026 to experience that same hit to your wallet for buying a ticket? What do you think that number is? How much would you need to make? It's probably a little higher than you expected because it's $723,000. 1994 average ticket, 58. That's 0.18% of the median income at the time. $1,300 average ticket now. You could argue for a range for this, but there's the same seat 3 decades later. You take this same percentage, this is what you need to make. I'm sorry, that's just, it's about 9 times what the typical US household makes. These 2 slides, these are what I want you to take away from today, chat, okay? Remember this. This is my crash out. Pure greed. That's what's happening with FIFA. They got $4 billion more than they should have. I think they made $6 to $8 billion from the Qatar World Cup, $15 billion from this one. And the shitty part is this. They don't need the United States as recurring customers, so FIFA can afford to make all of us Americans really upset with this. They can afford it. They don't need us. They don't need us as repeat customers. So they're like, we can deal with the hate, and it's not going to be like a blow to FIFA unless the World Cup comes back to the US within the next 30 years, which it might, and we should revolt if that happens. Because I want to go. I want to go. This dynamic pricing is bullshit. I highly encourage you to look up more videos on this subject that maybe covered it better than me. But the main idea, the main takeaway from this particular article, there is a lot of pushback from fans. There's pushback from 2 different attorney generals. All right, you can look that up on the New York Attorney General website, and it goes over they're gonna conduct a thorough investigation, blah blah blah. Not 1, but 2 state attorney generals are investigating FIFA. Okay, the pricing schemes too confusing. This is what everybody's been saying. I just wanted to give my own crash out about it and do a little history presentation. But in Mexico City, Azteca Stadium, this is 1 block from the stadium. They're setting up plastic tables. There's a couple different articles, people getting priced out at home. It sucks. I'm sorry to end the presentation on like a ruiner, but this is just too much money. It's just too much money to, like, if you compare 1994, yeah, less than 1 day's pay. This is about a full week of the average American income. I'm not happy about this. No one really is. It's just bad. 1930 to now. But the thing was, even 1994 was basically a day's pay. You could kind of get away with that. 2026, not the case. I'm not going to this shit. I wish I could have. I made a goal and I failed it. Like, I wanted to go to this pretty bad. I couldn't make it happen. I'm sorry, y'all, but I don't know. I didn't live up to my own expectations, but also fuck FIFA. The people's game now charges a luxury price. So, who is the World Cup for? Chat, that is it. That is the end of the stream. I will do more presentation style prepared streams. Hopefully not preparing 10 hours for one 38-minute stream as I get better at this, okay? I really enjoy presenting, and I think I'm gonna get better, so. All right. See ya.